Call the meeting to order, the Village of Oxford Downtown Development Authority, Monday, April 15th. Please rise, pay respect to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Nicole Ellsworth.
Here.
Dorothy Johnston.
Here.
Pete Schultz.
Here.
Sue Olds.
Here.
Elgin Nichols here. Rod Charles, absent. Joe Frost.
Here.
Michelle Klein.
Here.
Very good. Have any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Consent agenda. The approval of the proposed agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the existing agenda.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same thing. Motion carries. The approval of the March 18th meetings, minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve them if there are no corrections.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same thing. Motion carries. And then reports.
I'll make a motion that we receive and file the police report, code enforcement report, the DPW report, executive director report, and the expense revenue report and financial statement.
Support.
Been moved, supported. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same thing. Payment of the bills, April 2019 bills.
I make a motion that we pay the following bills for the month of April 2019. $11,938.61.
I'll second that.
Been moved, support. Roll call.
Nicole Ellsworth.
Yes.
Dorothy Johnston.
Yes.
Pete Schultz.
Yes.
Sue Olds.
Yes.
Elgin Nichols, yes. Rod Charles, absent. Joe Frost.
Yes.
Michelle Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Unfinished business, downtown parking draft proposal.
Parking committee met, we discussed options for creating greater turnover in the parking areas in municipal lots behind the four corners in downtown. The conclusions we came to were basically to create zones that are closest to the structures that are a 2-hour parking limit. That's typically long enough to allow for shopping trips or a lunch, but short term enough that you'll actually turn over the parking spaces 8 times per day, which will increase retail sales per business on average about $10,000 a year if we can hit that churn level. So, next step for this would be to hold a couple of public meetings with the business community and residents, not separate meetings, but at different times with this constituency. And then, once that is in, we'll refine any suggestions we get from the public and then take it to village council for a resolution to adopt a 2-hour time frame. You can see in your packet there are areas that are highlighted in yellow. And those are the areas where we're going to be looking at a 2-hour time limit plus handicapped plus 15-minute parking zones as well. It's roughly a third of the parking spaces in each lot.
Elgin.
Yeah, I'm just curious if some of the people on this board that are business people, if they've reviewed this and what they think about it.
Well, I'll start.
Dorothy.
I think it would be great because I see a lot of, and it's not so bad now, it's better once the communications go out to remind everybody to park toward the back of the lot, but there are some cars that are parked in the front 2 rows all day in my quadrant. So it would force them to kind of walk in if they're gonna be there all day, so I think it's a great thing. I would like to ask Nicole, though, in your quadrant if you feel that that's too long of a time frame for that area right there.
2 hours? No, because the only problem I really have is, the people that work upstairs come over and they park up front for, 8, 10 hours a day right in the front parking spot. And then all through here, I get the businesses next door here that come and park behind there. So we're full all day long, but it's with the employees from the neighboring businesses and then upstairs from us. The salon notices a big difference, in that too. So like 2 hours is generally long enough to get that accomplished for you too. So I think just being, neighborly or whatever, it's pretty fair.
So Glenn, are you gonna give Patterson's, so they have a handicap spot, how many spots are you gonna give them? So that Michelle and I like the 2 hour. I couldn't survive with the 15-minute. I like the 2 hour, but how much, Patterson's has quite a few spots going. How many spots are they gonna have?
I mean, sorry,
Joe?
Mr. Chair. I mean, technically, Patterson's doesn't have any spots, because those aren't their spots.
Correct.
Right,
Correct.
okay.
Okay, in front or behind Patterson's, how many 15-minute spots are there gonna be?
We're looking at two.
Perfect.
Glenn, the question I would have on this is, how would it be regulated and how do you keep track? Because unless someone physically walks up and down each parking lot the entire day, because if I pull in there, how is somebody gonna, see that I got there at 10 o'clock and then I actually pull out of that parking spot at 12 o'clock?
I can answer that. Because my customers are getting tickets. That's how this all was brought about, right? And so there's an officer that's sitting out there, and our clients are walking out with bags after they've only been in the boulevard, but they've been in there an hour. Yes, they were parked in the 15-minute parking right behind my store, but they got tickets. So he sits back there, Officer Owen sits back there and monitors.
We can't be in all four quadrants at the same time.
No, one of the things we're exploring with the police department is an automated license plate reader. They cruise through the lots, it timestamps each of the license plates as it reads through it, and then we come back in 2 hours, it tells you who's still there and deserves a ticket, and it'll print the ticket right out. And that's the enforcement we're looking to get to. To begin with, the enforcement we're going to use is simply notice that saying, starting such and such a date, this will be an actual $15 ticket. Start with courtesy tickets, then we move to the $15 ticket. If that's still not effective, we go back to the village council and say we'd like to up the cost. We're not looking to make money with this. Roughly spoken with the chief about part-time, random time enforcement from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in these lots.
So, just one quick thing. So you mentioned 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yes.
So in the nighttime, when most of the traffic or the heavy traffic is with parking and everything, who's going to regulate that time?
At that point, a lot of the office traffic has been removed because they close at 5. A lot of the retails close at 5 or 6. So the demand that we have on those parking lots is primarily from the restaurants and bars. So at that point in time, I'm not concerned about the use because the origin of that traffic shifts. There for dinner and an evening with their friends, it's going to be longer than 2 hours. So
Right. Would that be on the sign then at the same time, the time and everything? Okay. Nicole?
I do notice, kind of a follow-up with what Sue said, they are present and they're out there, but they're ticketing more of the customer than the people that are staying there for 8 or 10 hours. Those people haven't even been told anything. I've talked to the ladies upstairs, they had no idea. I just said, hey, we're trying to leave some spots open for the customers and for your patients. They said they knew nothing about it. But several of my customers were ticketed for being, or threatened with a ticket. They ran out in time and talked with the officer, but it was, their bumper was on the sidewalk too much.
Elgin?
To me, that seemed to be the major issue involved, when we started looking at this thing, is how do you control that facet of it? And I haven't heard any solutions to that yet.
I don't know, I
What do you
think,
mean? What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is that you've got people that stay extra hours. It's people that are employees that are there. They're taking up spaces that you want for your customers. So you're losing business by these people parking in those locations.
sure.
How do you circumvent that? How do you stop that from happening? What kind of penalty do you have to these people, if any?
We're putting a 2-hour time limit on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe?
Is there, as part of this plan, a designated employee parking area?
Well, basically what you'll see, we've left with the majority of the parking spaces as an unlimited time is currently called for in the ordinance. Seeking to get those high priority spots to be into that 2-hour turnover. Realize we have a large daytime population in Oxford, so sure that those people are accommodated. At the same time, we've got to make sure we can accommodate the daytime businesses and having a steady supply of parking.
And no, as far as my business, I'm in support of the 2-hour parking. I think it's enough time for them to shop, and I think it leaves ample enough unlimited parking. One thing that I have noticed over the past couple of weeks since our parking committee meeting is a lot of customers of mine have even been asking, there's 1-hour parking on the street in front of the stores. How often do they monitor that? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I've had more questions about that in the last 2 weeks than I did for the first 3 months of being open. So I don't know if we want to revisit that being 1 hour as well, or as 2 hours as well as the other, so it's all even or not. But a lot of customers do pay attention to the signs, and they do get worried they will move their cars around. So I've gotten the feeling that they're noticing the signs.
Currently, it's signed on one side of M24 as 1 hour parking. And the northbound lane is not time limited, so there's obviously been some past attempts to regulate it, but the police department does not enforce the parking on M24 at this time.
With the whole program going forward then, is there an education process as far as like Nicole's instance where the tenants upstairs, where they're unaware of anything because they're not the normal store owners downstairs? How do we get the message out to those people and even to the people that live in all those apartments up above there to get the message out to them that that's what we're trying to enforce?
We'll be doing mailing to all the residents. I'll be personally talking to the business owners as we get further into this project. They will all be invited to the public meetings that are going to be scheduled in the near future. Intent is to not immediately announce ticket fines. We want to gradually ease them into it.
Dorothy?
So in my lot, it looks like the handicap spots are also included in that. Is that the plan as well?
Yes. Until further notice.
Okay.
So you need anything action from the group at this time or not?
I don't need any action at this point. We can do receive and file. And we can make a motion to move forward on this project and host the public meetings. Whatever the board's pleasure.
All right, I make a motion to receive and file and revisit it at a later date.
Is there support?
Is there, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is that what you're looking for, Glenn, that we're gonna revisit it at a later date, or did you need her to say something more like you can have meetings now on it?
That's not necessary. We'll hold public meetings and we'll bring back the commentary to this board to craft a resolution to go to village council.
Okay, so the motion was what you needed it to be?
That's fine.
Okay, I'll second it then.
All right. It's been moved to support to,
For discussion, I think council's gonna wanna see, a definitive, like, we encourage employees to park here. And I think council's gonna wanna see a broader plan that's more than this, that involves, okay, what does enforcement cost? whether it's technology, whether it's an additional officer, a parking ambassador, et cetera, because it is going to take additional enforcement to make this work. So just thinking out loud, maybe something a little more robust before it goes to council.
You would want to exact is that complete package ready for council.
Okay.
We already have enforcement costs calculated.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business, the DDA Volunteer Initiative.
One of the things that was brought forward during our annual evaluation with Main Street, the National Main Street, was that we don't have a formalized volunteer recruitment program or a plan. And so I've had some conversations with other DDA executive directors and with Elizabeth Chase, who did our review, and they've directed me to some other resources. One of the things they recommend as a starting point is using your social networks with board members and as business owners to recruit other individuals within the community to serve on our committees and serve as possibly ex officios on the board of directors. So what I have in front of you is one recommended tool, the recruitment matrix, and it just gives you an idea, looking at diversifying our board representation for future, populating our committees so that they can then matriculate up to the board if they so desire. Basically, we're looking for members of the DDA board to identify and recruit 3 to 5 people to serve on our committees.
Elgin.
Are you looking for business people to be involved in this?
I am looking for business people. I am looking for people who have a certain skill set in some things. For example, Sue's daughter, Kelly, has got a tremendous background in marketing and advertising and promotions, and we've tapped into her on our promotions committee, and she's been
Very good.
so we're looking for people who have those types of skills. So included in your packet is basically the long-form description of what each of the committees do. And so if you're aware of somebody who's looking to volunteer, give back to their community, this might be an opportunity for you folks who know these folks better than I do, to identify people who might be able to assist us.
Dorothy had a question, maybe? Did you have a question?
Have a question?
Well, I guess, yeah, just thinking out loud. So you're thinking this is more of a targeted, pinpointed specifically to a person as opposed to just a really cool, like, piece of artwork that says, hey, if you're awesome, we're looking for folks, kind of a campaign through social media?
We've done those social media campaigns before, and we've had a grand total of 1 response.
Okay.
Suggested we go to a more formalized social networking type of plan.
Go.
Couple things. In our work plan, it doesn't identify where our volunteer needs are. For example, we have projects and committees and all that. Do we have places in that work plan where we can say, okay, John Doe, we need you to work on X, Y, Z, as opposed to bringing people in to some people may plug in better on a project specific need rather than, the committee style structure. Obviously, the committee needs more folks as well. And the second question is, Justin Wilcock, who was on the promotions committee, held a wonderful event this weekend with the volunteer fair. And I was a little surprised that, there wasn't anything from the DDA there. Being one of the largest volunteer organizations in the community. So, how can we, not only identify our volunteers based on our goals and objectives that we've set, and then the second part of that is how do we get engaged with folks like Justin further to get out there to some of those things.
I intend to attend that fair on Saturday, but at at that point in time, I didn't want to transfer my
Whatever you had.
respiratory infection to everybody else.
No, understandable.
So I didn't want to share that with the community. But, yeah, I've worked with Justin, and we're going to put some, his network as
Good.
well.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other discussion? Questions? Final?
What's the best way to handle it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's a good packet, it's good information. Good talking points.
I guess I just need more specifics. If I'm gonna go out to my, professional colleagues and friends, I wanna say, I need you to do X, Y, Z. The DDA needs you to do X, Y, Z. The DDA needs, another social media, editor, content person. The DDA needs whatever the DDA needs. So I guess maybe I don't have a full understanding of exactly what our needs are. I've not been on this board as long as others, but perhaps, a copy of the work plan would help on some of that, and I can, reach out to some colleagues.
Elgin?
Yeah, I would agree with Joe here that we need to know specifics, what areas of weaknesses that we have that we want to fill in with people of strength. Identify those areas so that we can, concentrate on those, bringing the right people.
I have brought the task list from the work plans for the 4 committees into the document labeled committee charters. It gives an overall description of what that committee is for, and then it has a breakdown of the duties within. Basically 1 page per committee. More information is needed. I'm happy to provide that.
Okay.
Yep.
Elgin?
I would say, I would like to massage this and go through it, and determine, the best fit for people that I know that might fit into it. I'm sure the rest of you council people would want to contemplate as well, determine, if there's somebody that you know. I would suggest that we table this till the next meeting, give us an opportunity to review it, and possibly provide some names.
To start?
Maybe we
Nicole.
could even ask some of these people to attend the meeting here
Good idea.
with some strengths, and maybe we could file like not necessarily a resume on their behalf, but something that we can have.
Resource guide?
Yeah, at Glenn's office that gives, strong points of the people that we know, and so if something comes up, we can reach out to them. For example, I had a friend of mine, she does a lot of artwork and stuff, so she designed something for the community forum that, I think represents the Main Street Oakland County, and, she does, she's offered her services for any kind of like graphic design type stuff that we need done, which is great, because if we can print stuff ourselves and we have somebody that's capable of, doing design work, that's gonna save us on costs in the long run for events and other things.
Absolutely.
I think another opportunity would be to also approach the Chamber of Commerce, because it's based on a lot of the skills that are in this document. There's a lot of people that come to mind based on just
Yeah.
that community, that maybe they'd be more apt to volunteer as well, because it would help serve their business as well. So maybe just approaching one of their meetings or their coffee connects, something maybe that'll attract some attention too.
Right, and to speak to that too, our bylaws do have a place on this board as an ex officio role for the Chamber of Commerce Director. So, maybe keep massaging that relationship. But the Chamber's always had a seat on this board, it's ex officio, but that's a natural partnership that should be strengthened.
Elgin?
I've always felt that that's a major resource that we should be tapping into. I know in talking to some of the chamber people, they're more than willing to do that too.
Okay. Board's pleasure?
Make a motion that we table this until the next meeting for review.
With homework?
Discussion.
I support.
Okay. Been moved, seconded to table until the next meeting, or set aside, the correct word that you want to use.
Set aside.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Something? Community cleanup day?
Last item on the agenda for tonight is just a reminder, folks, that we are having downtown cleanup day on May 4th from 10 until 4. Lunch is being kindly donated by 51 Diner for all of our volunteers.
Yummy.
If you link to the Facebook event that's on several pages, the Oxford Community Forum DDA, you find that event, you click through to the volunteer sign-up list. And it's got shifts available, and it's got what we need to help with. The DDA will be purchasing paint and other consumable supplies for the spruce up in downtown.
Is the DPW going to be involved that day? Because, I mean, if we're cleaning up the flower beds and shrubs and trimming and so on and so forth and generating the debris, what are we going to do with it?
Some of that's going to be stockpiled. I haven't had a complete conversation about this with Don yet. And passing through in the hallways. I intend to sit down with DPW and see if they're available on that day. The problem with that is any activity by the DPW on a Saturday is on overtime rate that we'd have to compensate.
Understandable. Nicole?
I have a volunteer with a landscape company, and I'll have a discussion with him and see if perhaps maybe they can take the bags out when they're done. They have to have somewhere that they take their stuff.
That would help.
Okay.
Joe, did you have something?
What are the duration of the volunteer shifts?
I believe they're 2-hour shifts.
Yeah, but if somebody can be there for an hour, well,
Right.
We just did a sign-up Genius so we could generate some emails from people that are willing to volunteer and then some accountability.
Absolutely.
All right, very good.
What is the cleanup going to entail? What exactly?
Basically, what we're looking at is painting all of the steel furniture in downtown, the fence around the park. We're not going to touch the flower beds in the park because those are already assigned to other groups such as the beautification committee or the flower club. So we're leaving those completely alone. But if you notice in the back side of the buildings, there's landscaped areas within the parking areas that don't have mulch or are filled with trash. And so the intent is to just clean up those areas in the parking lot and paint everything black that's supposed to be black.
Yeah, I would touch base with Don as soon as you can, because I know that DPW is, it may be one of the things already on their list of things to do, just to make sure that they're not already doing some of that.
The painting of the furniture and the fence is not on the DPW
Okay.
work list. We discussed this
Okay.
last fall. We were trying to get one in
Good.
before the weather turned cold.
Okay.
What kind of paint are you using? Is it latex?
Rust-Oleum?
No, we're looking at either a Rust-Oleum or an auto-based finish, an oil-based auto finish,
Okay.
whatever is most
An
durable.
oil-based or?
It's oil-based, yes.
Ooh,
Yeah, Rust-Oleum, so it'll stay. Latex will all chalk off and fade.
right.
Nicole?
We did paint the bench in front of the diner,
I know. it is.
probably at the end of last season. It was kind of rusty, and it held up pretty good. The guy didn't even sand it and, repaint it or anything. He just kind of put that Rust-Oleum over the top of it, put a drop cloth down. It held up all through the winter, and we get a lot of salt on that corner, so, I mean, even if it's a couple of years out of, the paint, it should
Right.
hold up pretty good.
Okay. Very good. No other discussion on that? Board member comments? Joe? Or, no, excuse me, items removed, the consent agenda, we had none. So, board member comments, Joe?
No, just a reminder of the main event coming up on May 9th with Main Street. My goal, and I encourage all of you to attend, is to have Oxford have the most attendees. So mark your calendars, May 9th, 6 PM. It's $35 unless you are a award nominee. And we do have some award nominees. Glenn can reach out to those folks. If you have been nominated for an award, there's one free registration per nominee. So looking to be a good event. Number of awards. In fact, it's the largest number of nominations ever that we've seen at Main-Steuben County. 56 nominations on the award side, and then 6 windows and 8 videos for the Spirit of videos. Other than that, council has some two meetings tomorrow, ongoing budget stuff, and then marijuana discussion with Planning Commission. And other than that, things are going well. We're planning on redoing West Burdick Street in preparation for M24. So that would all be redone, repaved, restriped this year yet, is the goal. So that's pretty much all I have.
Alden?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up something as far as enforcement. Oxford Lake Drive, you could have officers watch those stop signs. People are running them intentionally, and there's a lot of small kids, get on buses there. It needs to be watched more closely.
Nicole?
I just want to thank Glenn for all of his hard work this month and all the different ideas. I look forward to seeing everybody at Cleanup Day.
Dorothy?
Awesome. Just wish everybody a happy Easter.
Thank you.
Michelle?
I have no additional comment, just thanks for all your hard work and keep up the weather nicely.
Sue?
I'll say the same.
Okay. Very good. Any other extended public comment? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn at, what is it, 6:31?
Close enough.
Okay.
Support.
Been moved, support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing? Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Thank you.